All right, today we're jumping headfirst into Yann Martel's modern masterpiece, Life of Pi. This is one of those books that's so much more than a book. It's a survival story, a philosophical puzzle, and it all comes down to one absolutely mind-bending choice.
No, really, just think about that for a second. Could you do it? It sounds completely nuts, right? Utterly impossible. But that is the incredible idea that grabs you right at the start of this story, and trust me, it does not let go.
So, at the center of all this is a young man named Piscine Molitor Patel. Yeah, it's a mouthful, so he tells everyone to just call him Pi. And to even begin to wrap your head around how he faces this insane journey, you really have to know a little bit about who he is.
Pi's childhood basically gave him this one-of-a-kind survival kit. See, on one hand, he grows up in his family's zoo, so he has this incredible, almost intuitive understanding of animals. But on the other hand, he's also deeply spiritual. He explores Hinduism, Christianity, and Islam all at the same time because he's fascinated by their stories of love and belief. It's this wild combination of zoology and faith that ends up being his lifeline when, at just 16 years old, his whole world sinks to the bottom of the ocean. In the middle of all the screaming and the chaos of the ship going down, P somehow gets himself onto a lifeboat. He's alive. But when the storm finally quiets down, he makes a chilling discovery. He is not alone on that boat. And his new roommate is, well, let's just say it's the last thing you'd ever want to be stuck with. And this is where the story shifts into this unbelievable testament to what a person can endure. Pi is up against a situation that just, defies all logic. 227 days. Let that sink in. That's more than 7 months lost in the middle of the massive, empty Pacific Ocean. This number isn't just a fact in the story, it's the scale of his suffering, his solitude, and, unbelievably, his will to keep going. So the big question is, how on earth did he do it? Well, this is where his unique upbringing kicks in. He uses everything he learned at the zoo to forge this strange, terrifying truce with the tiger, a 450-pound Bengal named Richard Parker. He carves out his own little territory. He figures out the basics, how to catch fish, how to get fresh water. But just as crucial was keeping his mind in one piece. He relies on prayer, on routine, on the stories of his faiths to keep the darkness from taking over. For Pi, surviving was just as much a battle for his mind as it was for his body. Okay, but if you think this is just a cool adventure story, you're only scratching the surface. This whole journey is basically a giant allegory, where almost everything stands for something much, much bigger. The book is really asking us to look past the literal story. So Richard Parker, the tiger, he's not just a tiger. He is Pi's own savage animal self, that brutal instinct for survival that he has to tame, but also desperately needs to stay alive. The ocean, well, that's life. It's beautiful one minute and trying to kill you the next, and it doesn't care either way. And the little lifeboat, that's our world in miniature, where the normal rules of society are gone and the law of the jungle takes over. And this right here gets to the absolute core of the book. Pi's belief isn't just a comfort blanket. It's the very thing that gives his suffering a purpose. It's the story he tells himself to make the unbearable somehow bearable. And you should hold on to that thought, because this idea of storytelling is what sets up the novel's shocking, brilliant twist. All right, prepare yourselves, because after everything you've just been through with Pi, the book completely pulls the rug out from under you. It forces you to question everything you just read.
So, when Pi finally makes it to Mexico, he's interviewed by some Japanese officials who are investigating the shipwreck, and, not surprisingly, they don't believe his story. A tiger on a lifeboat? Come on. So Pi looks at them and says, "You don't like my story? Okay, I'll tell you another one. A much, much darker one."
In this second telling, there are no animals. The zebra with the broken leg? That was actually a sailor. The kind, gentle orangutan, that was his mother. The vicious, snarling hyena, that was the ship's cook. And Richard Parker, the tiger, the one who killed the hyena, that was Pi. The part of him that did what he had to do to survive. And right there, that's the moment. The book turns away from the investigators and looks directly at you, the reader. It lays out 2 stories, and it asks you to choose. So what is truth anyway? Is it only the cold, hard, brutal facts? Or can truth be something we build to help us make sense of a chaotic world? The novel seems to argue that the better story, the one with wonder and faith, is a kind of truth all its own, the kind of truth that helps us to live.
I mean, think about it. You have one story of a boy and a tiger, a miraculous tale of survival. And you have another story of unimaginable violence and cannibalism. But here's the thing. Both stories start in the same place, the shipwreck. And they end in the same place, with Pi being the only one left alive. The outcome is identical. So the choice isn't really about what factually happened. It's about what kind of story you choose to believe in.
And in the end, that's the question Life of Pi leaves right in your lap. It makes us look at our own lives and ask ourselves, do we want to live in a world of just harsh facts? Or do we need stories, stories of hope, of faith, of meaning, to truly make it through? The better story? Well, that's for you to decide.